Welcome back, everyone, to Merge Conflict, your weekly developer podcast. I'm James Montemagno, and we have beautiful, sunny, island life Frank Kruger. What's going on? Why are we recording at 9 a.m.? That's way too early to record a podcast.
Too bright out. As with all things negative in my life, I blame them on you. So the glaring sun in my face, giving me poor lighting in this room. It's actually really good lighting for me, bad lighting for you in this room, is all your fault because we're recording at a funny time. We usually record at night. This time we're recording during the day.
And you'll never know.
1% my fault.
You'll never know where I am at or what time it is because I'm still in the garage.
The cave. You're still in the dark cave. That's right.
The question is will this just continue to be stuff with stuff? It's pretty full. I don't know if we can fit any more stuff. So
I have faith in you.
Well, I got two updates before we get into our episode today. Really quick, we're going to talk about Matter and why it matters.
I like that. Yeah. Is that a pun? Or is that just silly talk?
Both, maybe? I don't know. Yeah. I got two pour out moments.
Ooh. Okay. That's sad. You're sunsetting something?
I'm not. Apple is.
Oh, Apple. I want to be sunsetting now. Oh, is it OpenGL again? They keep saying they're going to do it.
They may. I don't know. They seem to be ripping stuff out of everything. So we can pour one out for our good friend Rosetta 2.
Oh, okay. That has developer implications. Fascinating. Tell me more. Well, that stinks. Have you updated all your apps?
I have one left that I'm doing right now. And I'll tell you why.
Okay, so if you're not in the Mac community, Rosetta is the magic piece of software that lets us run, in this case, Rosetta 2, lets you run Intel x64 code on our fancy ARM64 chips. So this has been coming for probably the last 5 years. I thought it would last a little longer because Apple still requires that we release fat chunky binaries that contain both x64 and ARM64 if you've ever released for x64. This is surprising to me. I think I have a bunch of software still running x64. I think I've ported all my apps though too.
Yeah, this one's fascinating. There's 3 notes. One, so it was introduced in 2020. So macOS 26.4 users may receive a system notification when launching apps that rely on Rosetta, alerting them to update to an Apple Silicon native version. So if you don't have one, you can't update. So, number two.
Developers.
Developers. Number 2, macOS 27, the final release to support Rosetta. Intel-only apps will no longer run on Macs with Apple Silicon after this update. So we got about a year and a half.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone, if you haven't updated to .NET, I think .NET 6 started.
6,
right?
5.
8. Yeah, anyway, you should be on 10. Just get to 10. Yeah. Update all your apps to .NET 10. Jeez. Scary.
Footnote. Please note. There's a note that Rosetta functionality for older, unmaintained gaming titles that rely on Intel-based frameworks will continue to be supported.
Oh, double standards, Intel. So the games get a special... what's going on here? Is there it can't even be an entitlement. This is because it's obviously old software.
They're putting in an approved list, right? That's what they're doing is they're looking at usage of game titles from different platforms that are being used on Mac. They don't want to break those users, so they're putting in an okay.
That means Rosetta still works. That means there's no technical reason. Yep. This is purely marketing, pushing poor little app developers as ourselves to release our stupid software.
Yes.
Pretty crazy. I don't mind reasons, even when they give an arbitrary technical reason. I'm old enough in my career, I'll take arbitrary technical reasons, but having no technical reason, come on, Apple. Come on.
So that one's a good one. So I'm updating my apps now because the other one that I cannot get proof or not if this is a real pour it out moment, but I do believe it may be a pour it out moment for StoreKit 1.
Oh, that's the big one. Because there's a lot of us still rocking the StoreKit 1.
So check your apps. I started to get notifications on my GitHub and in my inbox from customers that says I can no longer purchase things or I can no longer validate my purchases. I haven't gotten too many, but other people are. So if you're using StoreKit 1, check it out. This is a pretty big hit if that's the case. It may just be an Apple backend problem at this moment, but I am not 100% sure. And I can't find a lot of details on it in general.
You're scaring me. I don't want to pass on FUD. So let's just hope this is a temporary situation, because I think they'd be a little more explicit about this one. But it is scary. I have subscriptions and basically all my apps rocking the StoreKit 1. Time to get working on a Xamarin plugin, James.
Yep. Yes, I agree. Yes. So check your apps. That's what I'm telling you to do if you have one. And the documentation is hard, right? Because StoreKit 1 has been deprecated since iOS 18, and there is not supported, but there's also not supported versus this API is removed. Now, that being said, the apps do not crash, which is telling me that the API exists, because your app would crash if the API was removed. So this is telling me that something somewhere changed. So the probably better thing to do would be to alert Apple via an Apple radar, which is probably what I'm going to tell people to do in the GitHub issue that people are chatting on. But yeah, since the app doesn't crash, I feel as though the API is there.
Well, even if this is not true, it is a reminder to all of us that we're going to have to take some kind of action very soon to get our apps ported over to StoreKit 2. Might be time to start working on a little library for Maui to support some StoreKit 2. Yeah,
I think so, and I'd be down if you were to do that. I would be down to put it into my in-app billing plugin and swap Rooney it out for people and do that work. It's a big work. The thing is, I didn't want to do the binding because I don't want to support the binding, but you literally have to do the binding because, exactly.
I make a living off of this stuff, so I need support for it.
Exactly.
And I think I would probably do it in two ways. Try to support the StoreKit 2 APIs as closely as possible, but also try to have maybe a little bit of a backwards compatibility layer so we don't have to tear out all of our StoreKit 1 code. But honestly, I haven't taken that deep of a look at StoreKit 2. So thank you for the shots fired. I'm going to have to get on my game here.
That said, StoreKit 2, much better API. It's very beautiful. And there's tons of beautiful things. Like you can have a native UI that pops up that is showcasing your work and all the so it's there. So anyways, those are my two pour it out moments. But let's pour it out for every other protocol in the world of IoT, because they no longer matter.
Oh, wow. Triple pun. That's why it matters. Oh, y'all.
Oh, my God.
Do you remember?
I think it was probably... Unsubscribe.
Yeah, no. Downvote, unsubscribe. Do you remember years ago, I think when Matter was coming out, it came out, I think, around 2022-ish. It was started earlier than that. But when it came out, I was very dismissive because I think you were mentioning, you're talking about Matter and Threads. And I'm just like, oh, God, another IoT standard. Just add it to the bin of IoT standards that are, going to go away or something like that. And I was very uninterested. James, I am proud to report I was completely wrong. I am now a Matter devotee, and I want to spend a podcast and tell you why. I think it's the greatest thing to actually happen to IoT in a long time. And I apologize to all the listeners that it took me this long to come around to the correct side of this argument. But yeah, let's talk about Matter and why it matters. So maybe let's start with, what do you know about Matter at this point?
I know that a few of my devices, I think, got it. I think Apple, I think the Apple TV has some Matter or something. And then also those lights that were behind me got Matter, or maybe they got Thread, or maybe Thread is Matter. That's about it. I mean, from my understanding, in the IoT world, there is the mostly standardized protocol is Wi-Fi, which is not really a protocol. I mean, it is a protocol, but it's not really. It is a protocol, but it's not an IoT specific protocol, right?
Right.
Well, it's protocol. It's enough. And then there was Zigbee, which was very popular. And I have a bunch of Zigbee devices. So I mostly know things about Zigbee because that was kind of and Z-Wave, those two were kind of interchangeable in a way. And those are the two that I knew. But those have been out for like ever. So I think Matter and Thread and all that stuff, I kind of in my mind envision it as like a next generation of those things that would be maybe hopefully more approved by more companies, because that was kind of like the problem is fighting standards. You have too many standards. Does everything support everything? Is it going to support everything? Then a consumer goes, okay, I got to go to the store. Do I got to get a Wi-Fi, a Zigbee, a Z-Wave? What ecosystem am I adopting here? And which one's going to die tomorrow? So
yeah. I mean, you're not wrong on basically any of that, but the which one's going to die tomorrow, I think, is the one why I was dismissive at first, because you get tired of chasing these things. So it's not a transport. So OSI has a networking layer stack where they talk about, like, I'm going to simplify it. There's like 7 layers to the OSI model of networking. There's way too many layers. But like in my world, it's easier if you just think about the 2 important ones for developers like us there is the transport, the thing that's actually making the communications happen. And then there's the application layer, which is our HTTPs and our, all the junk we put on top of TCP to actually do communications. So Matter is a protocol for talking to IoT devices, but it's at the application layer. So it actually has nothing to do with the physical stuff. It actually runs on Wi-Fi, technically Ethernet, but who cares about Ethernet? It runs on Wi-Fi and IP version 6. So it's an IP6 protocol that basically is a lot like HTTP. It's an application level something. This is great for developers because it means any idiot can write a Matter device, because all you got to be able to do is talk basically sockets. You have to know how to use sockets. You can write yourself a Matter device. And this is a big deal because the other ones that you mentioned, like Zigbee and Z-Wave, those are actually transport protocols. Those are mesh networking. Those are radio frequencies and framing and all the complicated stuff you don't actually want to deal with. And those were super annoying because they were proprietary. Zigbee, you had to go get registered trademark Zigbee, pay them a licensing fee, all that kind of nonsense. Whereas Matter, just sitting at the application layer, it's free for anyone to adopt. And this is the big deal. But just while we're doing definitions, I'll get to Thread does run Matter, but it's up at the transport level.
Okay. Gotcha.
So Thread is a replacement for the Z-Waves and the Zigbees that require like special hubs and all that kind of stuff. So Thread is a mesh networking protocol or transport, whatever. I hate layers. It's up there in the layers. Whereas Matter is actually just kind of the developer focused. Just talk these text streams and you can make something happen. So that's layering. Don't you love layering?
I see. So I'm a developer, James, and I have an app that's like, my cadence, or I, maybe have a phone app, or maybe I have a little device that I want to connect to different devices, little sensors, and I want to connect to them. So today in the world, I'd probably use like Bluetooth, right? To like pair and read data and do all this stuff. And then I would have a device that's like Bluetooth. But you're saying in this world, I, James, developer, could create hardware that has like the Matter protocol that's like emitting data off of Matter, and then I could have an application that's reading that data off of Matter locally, basically. Is that correct?
Yeah, but in the case of Matter, you basically have like one controller, and then lots of little devices talking Matter. So it doesn't have to be exactly this way, but one physical device, like let's say a light bulb, is just sitting there ready to turn on and off. And that's in our normal parlance, that's like a little client. And then you have a little controller, a big controller, like let's say an Amazon Dingus device or an Apple TV or a Google, whatever the heck they're selling these days, Eero and all that kind of stuff. So you have those kind of controllers out there. And if I make a little light bulb, and if I make that little light bulb talk the Matter protocol, then all those big dinguses like Apple Home and Amazon can talk to it. And it's usually to control it. In the case of a light bulb, turn it on and off. In the case of a switch, turn it on and off. For a door lock, lock and unlock it. For a door, open and close it. That kind of stuff. It's usually you using some kind of dingus to control a device.
I see, gotcha. Yeah. So today, for example, like in the house, I for all intents and purposes have my router that's sitting there plugged into my router. I have a UFI security station that's sitting there that is connected to Ethernet, but then it implements like HomeKit and Google Home, and some of the cameras support it, some of them don't. Maybe you can connect to Wi-Fi. And then I also have like a Govee gateway to connect to my water sensors. And that is like, the Govee gateway is connected to Wi-Fi, but then the Govee sensors are like some proprietary connection mechanism.
Sure.
And then I also have a SwitchBot gateway, and the SwitchBot gateway enables me to do the open and close, like a light that isn't a smart switch, or like maybe like turn on different lights. But that again is like connected to the Wi-Fi, but then like connecting via some of its own proprietary thing. So I basically just have like 1,000 gateways sitting around. And then I also have a Zigbee gateway that's like for Zigbee devices. Right. Although that Zigbee gateway is actually proprietary only for Sinope devices, even though they are Zigbee, but it's only going to accept certain things from their gateway. And then I also have an Apple Home, which is also I have an Apple TV, which is an Apple Home Kit hub, in which some of the cameras will connect to that. And then I give up, basically. That I think this is so by the way, this is the average consumer home. And like you and me, also, I think if Frank described his home network, by the way, I'm pretty sure it's just like a bunch of gateways and Wi-Fi. And I didn't even mention the devices that are just like a Wi-Fi. Like my lights here in my office, they're Wi-Fi connected to something. I have no idea. I can barely get them to work. And then they're like only 2.4 gigs. And then I have this like lock on the door that like didn't want to connect to the 2.4 gig only connect network, and it only wanted to connect to the combined network. And I'm like, what are you doing? But then the other stuff is connected, and I'm like, what is going on here? That's my life, basically, Frank.
Yeah, and honestly,
that's the average consumer's life.
It's still the state of the art. I think most homes are like that. Mine's not, by the way. Mine's a lot cleaner. But we are in this terrible situation where we have a million competing implementations of roughly the same thing. So I've been buying Wi-Fi hardware for a while because Wi-Fi is good enough. I don't exactly need the meshing stuff. Mesh is better because, you get longer range and all that kind of stuff, and they're relaying messages, but Wi-Fi is good. But we have this problem of, at least in the Amazon Dingus app, you go to add a light bulb, and it used to be a list of like 10 manufacturers. Now that list is like 1,000 long. It breaks every UI paradigm ever.
Yeah.
Do not become a hardware company that starts with a letter Z, or else your customers will never, ever be able to connect any of your devices.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of like Amazon switches, Amazon basic switches, and they all talk some random proprietary Wi-Fi protocol. That's not so bad because I already have the Amazon Dingus. But what's really bad is when you get a random Wi-Fi protocol that requires its own app. And then you got to create an account in that app, and then you got to pair that app to. My God, I hate that.
I got the folder. It's called Smart Devices, and it's like I got 6 apps for 6 different things. Like we have like on the coast, like the dehumidifiers. I got like an Anchor app. I got the water sprinkler in this house. The water sprinkler system has its own separate app just to turn on and off and schedule that. Let's see. I got the Ecobee app. I got the Hue app. I got the Google Home app. I have there's in this place the oven has Wi-Fi. I don't know why,
excellent.
But you can turn on and off the oven because why not? Let's see. I have a Dyson app so I can connect to my vacuums for some ungodly reason.
Yeah.
I have the Segway mobility app for the e-scooter because why not? Let's see what else I have. I have and then so that's just in my hidden folder that I don't use. And then I also have the smart home app, which is the dehumidifiers, the control center for these lights, the Sinope for the heaters, the Govee for the water sensors, the UFI for the UFI, the SwitchBots for the SwitchBots. And they're all controlled in that way. And hardly any of them actually support HomeKit accordingly.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So in an ideal world, every single one of those manufacturers will now implement Matter. And expose standardized endpoints to the Matter system whatever. It's just Wi-Fi. It's just broadcasting junk everywhere. And ideally, you don't need a million apps. I mean, in one way, it's bad because I'm begging for everything to be smushed all into the Amazon app or the Google app or the Apple Home app. But you know what? Those are the companies I trust. I don't trust some random hardware manufacturer to write a good app because most of them write terrible apps. I have this Smart Life app I think I use for a lot of things that use these old Wi-Fi protocols, and that app is terrible. And I'm just stuck with it forever. So I think Matter is good because it's just a simple Wi-Fi protocol that everyone can implement. It's standardized, so all the big players can write to it, and you won't need to create accounts on every single fly-by-night manufacturer out there. So I'm a big proponent. Go out there when you're buying new hardware, look for the Matter logo and get that. I've become a total shill for Matter. But it's not just because I want to simplify my home networking. It's because I like building my own devices, James. You know that. I love building little IoT garbage things, all sorts of things. And let me tell you the terrible state things were at before. So let's say I wanted to create a light bulb. This is always the simplest example, but you can imagine more complicated things that I want to create. You know what I did in the past to be Amazon Dingus compatible? Do you remember? I think I've said it on this podcast before. Do you remember my trick?
No, I don't remember. Was it that you No, I don't remember. Just tell me.
I always pretend to be a Philips Hue bulb
because I was like, I bet you're spoofing something.
Yeah, spoofing Philips Hues because that protocol was reverse engineered. It's not like it was a complicated protocol or anything, but you have to figure out how all this stuff works. And thank goodness there was no security model there actually verifying did you have an actual Philips certificate or anything like that. It was just a nice little, it's not even a back door, but a little side door to get into the Dingus ecosystem. So all my little devices could be controlled by the big players out there. Well, I went to go do that just a few months ago, and all of a sudden, they closed that side door. They were not accepting my little devices anymore. And I got depressed because I loved it. Everything shows up as a light bulb, even though it's not. I had door opener and closers, locks. I had refrigerator turn on and offers, everything. I even had my thermostat acting as a light bulb. So you would say, turn the house to 80%, and that would turn the house to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Don't do that. It's too hot.
That's funny.
But it worked because the Philips Hue was dimmable. Yeah. So, you could transmit a number to it. Worked great.
That's great. I love that. That's a good hack.
What a hack,
it's not just on off people. It's also numbers. Yeah. And probably
exactly.
color schemes that you could detect for whatever those are coming through too, which is hilarious.
Well, temperatures, but those are color temperatures. You don't want to set the house to 1600 Kelvin. You just don't. It's going to be too warm. I promise.
That's great.
But what's cool is because Matter is just some idiot protocol out there that anyone who knows how to program sockets can do. And obviously there's libraries out there, and I hope we'll link to some of the libraries to make this easy. You can start implementing standardized endpoints. So a part of the Matter protocol is it's actually a bit of an open-ended protocol where you have clusters and things that can have it supports this command and that command. But really you want to be in the happy profile world where you are a switch or you're a button or you're a door. I'm giving all the basic examples, but there's 30 of these profiles out there that'll probably cover your user scenario.
Yeah.
And instead of pretending to be a Philips Hue bulb, I can actually be the correct kind of device. And so when you pair it to an Apple Home or a Google whatever the heck, you get the correct kind of UI for it. So instead of, setting a percentage dimmable feature to turn the temperature in my house, I can actually be a thermostat. And it knows, okay, thermostats do temperature. So you get the correct user interface for it. You get better voice commands for it because I don't have to say, set the thermostat to 10%. Why do I keep coming up with bad examples for temperatures? I really do live at normal temperatures, people. I do, I swear.
Okay.
You can now say set the temperature to, this thing. Or I've hooked up my garage door. So now I can say open the garage door, not set the garage door to 100%, set the garage door to 0%.
And you don't know which one is that, right? Is 0% open or closed? Yeah, who knows?
Never. And there was no feedback mechanism too, because the Philips Hue bulb never really had to transmit its state back to the thing.
I could have done open the set the garage door to green.
Yeah,
for open.
Exactly.
Set it to red for stop.
Now you're getting my life. So your life is weird because you have a million manufacturers. My life is weird because I have a million custom DIY devices hooked up to my networks.
I love it.
I can never remember how to talk to them. But it's nice because Matter actually supports both directions, like state updates. So I can create smart buttons. And so that's actually transmitting data to the devices, and then you can start adding triggers to them. So sorry, I'm in the Amazon world. So in the Amazon app, you can say when this button is pressed, take these actions. It's like
do these things,
if this then that kind of stuff. I'm sure cool. Apple Home and Google Home have that too. But so Matter, I love Matter because it's an open protocol. Anyone can implement it. You don't need to pay any fees or anything. You actually get good profiles for all your DIY devices. And those devices can actually transmit data to the dingus. Pretty cool, right?
That's awesome. Is that what's the Home Assistant? They have that Home Assistant. If people don't know Home Assistant, people have talked about it for a while on the pod. We're talking about these hubs. Home Assistant is sort of a bring everything to your app type of thing, right? So imagine you're not in one of these ecosystems. You're like, well, how do I do it? So they actually have, I think now multiple pieces of hardware. But you run it yourself, so you don't need external servers. And they sell a little box that is called the Home Assistant Green. The question I have is it?
I think you can just put it on a Raspberry Pi too, though, if you just want to go that route.
Because, I'm saying, Frank, I'm not you.
Okay, fine. You want to buy a piece of hardware, fine.
Okay, it says okay. So expand the capabilities. You can add Home Assistant Connect ZBT2 to control Zigbee and Thread devices. Set up Home Assistant Cloud for voice assistants to integrate third-party devices. So my assumption is that this little adapter is
but you don't even need
Zigbee
that.
or Thread.
Yeah, you don't need that.
You need a hub.
Only if you want to do the hardware protocol. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying, like, what if you don't have a dingus?
You probably do have a dingus because your computer talks IP6. Wi-Fi IP6. Most likely, you already support Matter. And it's amazing if you go to like the Wikipedia or you go to the Matter website for the actual controllers out there, chances are you have a Matter capable computer because, or a dingus, because all it has to do is talk Wi-Fi and IP6. Okay. So chances are you already support it. And it's true for basically all the old devices. You have to go pretty far back in time to find a device that doesn't support it because it's such a simple application layer. Now, the device you're talking about, that talks the new transport layer, the new mesh networking. So Zigbee was like a proprietary mesh networking. Threads is the open standard mesh networking. So if you want to do mesh, cool. You don't want to flood your Wi-Fi channels, cool, bro. You can switch everything to Thread. But I'm more interested in the Matter side, the application programming side, that just all it needs is Wi-Fi, and most things already support it already. So even your oldest Amazon dingus probably already talks it.
Interesting.
Plus it helps with some other things too. So one thing I always hated about when I created an IoT device was I had to know my Wi-Fi password and Wi-Fi name because the device has to boot up and has to get that. So one very cool part about using the Matter SDKs and the Matter support is they have onboarding. So it will use, the end user experience is very simple. You print out a QR code. You go to the Apple Home app or the Google Home app, you scan the QR code, wait for 20 progress bars to go by, and all of a sudden, the device is on the Wi-Fi, and it's paired, and all the security stuff has been taken care of for you. So they have really smooth onboarding. Now, at the transport level, that's happening over Bluetooth. And I think NFC is actually supported also.
Interesting.
But that means... Sorry, let me just interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was never able to make devices for friends because I would have to hard code their Wi-Fi stuff in there.
Yep.
Now I can make a device, print a QR code, and be like, here you go, QR code that, it'll connect to your network, all super secure.
The security cameras actually have this functionality now built in. So maybe they're talking over some of this Mattery stuff, or maybe something different. I don't know what they're doing. But basically, the security cameras, like in the app, it'll be like, oh, just like, here's a QR code, and you have the camera scan the QR code and it just like registers. It's doing something different, who knows? But it sounds similar, and like that's a very seamless process. Yeah, previously, for the onboarding process of the device, you would have to like
it was ugly, I know.
You'd pair to it, you would do the thing, you would reboot. And then they did this weird thing for a while where it was like some of the devices, it would send like subsonic messages that would like broadcast. Sweet. It was like,
Love
it would be like, oh, okay, like you need to connect the device. But like I would go set up the device, like like put it up. And then it's like, oh, bring the device within 5 feet of the hub. And you're like, bro, it's outside 50 feet away. What am I supposed to do? Like, I got to go climb this tree to get this camera down? I would. And then I'd bring it close. I'm like, oh my God. There was one where I was like, it was a hardwired one. And like, it was a pain in the butt to get up. So I literally was like, I opened the window and I was like, I got the cord as long as it could. And I was like, please hear each other. I was like, please just, and it's like, and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? It's a terrible onboarding experience. Onboarding experience is like the worst. It's just like, whatever. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. And even the old tech, like even the Roomba onboarding is bad. Like you got to manually switch to their Wi-Fi. It does a bounce and a bounce and a bounce. And you're like, what is going on? And eventually it works. I mean, it usually does work, but
it does work.
It's an ugly experience.
Oh yeah. Now I just did it yesterday. I did it yesterday when I needed to switch the Wi-Fi of this Govee hub. And it's literally like, okay, like open the app. It's like, press this button. And then it's like, connect. Cool. Connecting via Bluetooth. You're like, cool. It's like, what Wi-Fi password and what Wi-Fi. And then it's like, I need your location to get all your Wi-Fis. And then it's like, now what password is it? Okay, cool. It's like, all right, I got it in the app. So it's got it in the app. And then once it's got in the app, it's like, cool, go connect to the Wi-Fi of that device that it's not doing. It's like, okay, cool. I was like, cool. I got it to the device. It's like, cool. The device now is transmitting it. The device is going to reboot. And they're like, cool, quickly switch back to your other Wi-Fi really quick so then we can finish the process. Like, what is even happening right now? It is I know what's happening under the hood, right? Because it's like, it's that they need to put that information in the boot up process or whatever that's doing. I was like, this is ridiculous. It's just like, and that's kind of like average consumer. Like they got to go figure that out. It's not fun.
Nope. And now it's just stare at the spinner for 20 to 30 seconds because it's still doing all of that. It's just doing it automatically now. Because I mean, it still needs to transfer the Wi-Fi credentials to the device and store those away and blah, blah, blah. Test out that connection before it says everything is golden. But I've built 10, 20 of these things already, and it's been flawless so far. I just print out a QR code for each one. The QR code is pretty static, even when I try like different versions and change things around. I think it might be tied to like the Ethernet address or something of the device. So now whenever I have like a little device I put it on, I just print out the QR code and I can easily repair it and reset it for all the different scenarios. So like, it sounds like a small feature, but that's actually kind of a big feature, just to smooth out that onboarding part. So it's coming up all wins. I do want to mention a negative is there is still a licensing fee. If you want to be like a real vendor and actually sell these things, then you do have to go spend some money to the Matter Consortium, whatever they're called these days. I think it's like a yearly fee to get like a vendor ID. And so you can put the Matter logo on your devices and all that kind of stuff. Alternatively, so all my devices come up with like, my name is vendor_test. You know what? It's a great name for a company. I think I might go register that name, vendor_test. And it's fine. I don't care because it doesn't show up anywhere else in the apps. It's only when you're pairing. They're like, do you trust vendor_test? I'm like, of course I trust vendor_test. Who else could it possibly be?
It's like installing like a Mac or Windows app. It's like, are you sure? I'm pretty sure I'm just like whatever this random developer test 5432 whatever is. That's great.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. I trust you.
Honestly, I trust that more than I trust just creating a random account on some random manufacturer's app that I haven't seen before. So I just want to say, I'm in love. This is the greatest thing that's happened to me because I'm matterifying like everything. I bought this $7 lamp at basically like the Goodwill. I put a Matter device in it. Now I can turn the lamp on and off. Because nice. I show these chips on basically every episode now, but I've got these like little SB32s that I keep purchasing because they're $4. They got the Wi-Fi stack on them. They've got the Bluetooth, so the onboarding goes very smooth. They're very tiny. They even have a battery interface, so it's like trivial to hook these up to every kind of device. $4, and you can IoT basically anything you got, cool. And in a compatible way that can talk to all your dinguses. And then I'll just end on this note. Because we have things like button interfaces where you can transmit data to like all your dinguses, imagine like you can put an AI on here now. What if an AI had a tool called like press the button? So now you can do some really interesting things of having the little dinguses or the little devices talking to their own AIs and having their own kind of smart triggers and that kind of stuff. All properly secured, all through correct channels supported in many different apps. So there is light at the end of this IoT tunnel.
I like it. Lots of possibilities. I do think that that's like one of the big game changers, right? Is actually being able to get these little tiny devices and actually have standard protocols, but then also not have to fake it to make it to actually just get into your own ecosystem just in your house for yourself. Like it's kind of like that, right to repair, right to IoT. That's what I say.
The right to IoT. That's subtitle. Why matter matters. The right to IoT.
Right to IoT. I like it. All right. Well, thanks for going through this. I'm gonna give it a try. We'll put some links to everything in the show notes. I'll actually do that. I swear. Frank sent over a very nice Apple note with all the links. I will go and add those on there as well. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Let us know if you're matterifying, threadifying, IoTifying your house. It's always fun to have an IoT episode. And if you've ported out for any of the Rosetta apps that you still have running on your Mac. So that's going to do it for this week's Merge Conflict. So until next time, I'm James. On to Mac now.
And I'm Frank Krueger. Thanks for watching and listening.
Peace.